Yes, Chris Erskine, how are we today, mate?
Good, mate. Very good, thank you.
Before we start editing, I need to know, because I've wondered for ages, what's behind the nickname Squid?
So when I signed for Thistle, so I was 22 when I signed for Thistle, and Ian McCall was the manager, and just after, I think probably my first day, Ian McCall just said in front of the boys, "Do you not think he looks like Squidward for SpongeBob SquarePants?"
Oh, no way.
So all the boys were all laughing and that. So just keep that. What you get told when you get called nicknames and that, just ignore it and it'll go away kind of thing. So I thought, I'll just leave it, no saying about it. That's what 11 years, 12 years or something. I'll still be called. So it's done pretty well. I've been called worse, to be fair, over the years.
Because I thought it was just a functional thing, but it's no. It's been for ages, isn't it?
Nah, it's been since I signed with Thistle. So as soon as I signed, kind of full time, I kind of adopted it. I had I've not got it anymore, but I had a classic mini. You see it on my Instagram and that. I had a classic mini, a Squidward on the top of it and stuff like that as well. So, as I said, I've been called worse.
Not bad. So before, obviously, well before Partick, how is it you got yourself into football? That's that kind of before like any boys club, because you played with Calderwood, Blue Star.
Yeah. So just, I guess the same as everybody. Just always kicking a ball when I was younger. Davy Gray, who's doing the PTA and stuff like that as well now. So we were always just out kicking the ball together after school. For a very young age, just the 2 years really. We'd go down to Crosshouse, which is close to where I stayed. We just kicked the ball and obviously kind of joined teams when we were younger, and then had a couple of kind of pro youth. I was in at Clyde for a season when I think I was about 13. I tried to do that when I was young as well, but I never actually signed there. And then I just after my year at Clyde, I went back and played with Calderwood Blue Star. When I was kind of 15 right up to I was 18, maybe 14 right up to I was 18. We did a bunch of boys, good players. We won a lot of kind of stuff. We won the Scottish Cup at kind of under 17s and stuff like that. So we were a great team, and all the boys that were playing then are still like the best mates now. And then for there, moved on to Calderwood Blues. Moved on to Kilburn Lakeside. And I had a few years there before I signed full time.
Aye, that was 2005 you went then, wasn't it, when you went junior?
Yeah. Aye, so I was 18. I just turned 18. So it was kind of at the stage where Blue Star was kind of splitting up. We got to 18 and everybody was kind of out drinking and doing their own stuff as they do at that age. I wanted to just keep playing. And it was actually my stepdad worked with somebody that was on the committee at Kilburn. And me and my friend Jamie Longworth, he's played with Queen's Park, Stranraer, a lot of teams like that, so took us at the same time to Kilburn when we were 18. And I was there till I was 22, 4 years, playing in the juniors. And again, it was really good. We had a really good team down there as well. Won a couple of divisions and stuff like that, promoted up to the Super League, and then I had a couple of trials with a couple of teams, and one of them was Thistle, and then managed to get signed with Thistle, which was amazing.
What is it? Is that how that kind of Thistle move came about then? Who was the gaffer at Thistle at that time?
Ian McCall. So again, there was a when I was at Kilburn, there was a scout called Gus Black, and he did a scout for Kilburn. He did it for Thistle as well. So I think people who didn't think were ready to try for Thistle, he'd maybe put onto the kind of juniors and stuff like that. So he got me in. I went in for a week's trial. Like kind of full-time training. I think I played 3 games against a couple of different teams, and then kind of off the back of the third game, Ian McCall said he wanted to sign me, which was amazing because I was working in the shipyards at the time. So I was 22 at that point, so I'd had an apprenticeship for 4 years working in the shipyards. I was like, did that for 4 years, and then I got to leave my job obviously and go full time football, which was a dream.
Aye, I was going to say it. How was it like that? That's actually what I got down is how was it playing, like, because you played for obviously junior, but you were still working. Like, so how was it? Was that kind of a scary jump to take maybe into full time?
I think when you're playing part time, and I'm doing it again now, it's just the kind of norm for guys that are playing at that level is that they go to work and then they go to training. It can be tough. You get home and you're tired to work and stuff like that, and then you've got to go and train. So going for that to kind of full time, kind of difficult at the time, just because not being used to it. Like, see if training kind of twice a week, part time, and then go and train a day, minus a wee day off here or there. But it takes its toll on your legs quickly, if you know what I mean. Especially going in and doing pre-season right away. Like, that's when I kind of started, was right at pre-season. So when I'd signed the boy Chris Dillon, who I'm good friends with, he had signed in January before I went in the summer, and he a kind of same path as me. He played at Auchinleck in the juniors, and he had the same at the time. Like, did you feel like this? Like, were your legs gubbed in that? And he said he was the same, and that you would get used to it. And then after a while, your body just adapts. Like, it's the same with everything. Like, you train, you get stronger, and then you kind of kicked on from there. But I remember at the start thinking kind of I could be out my depth here.
Who was what was it like to go from like a junior dressing room then to obviously a full-time Partick Thistle one? What was it kind of
probably, well, when I went to Thistle, we had a lot of kind of older, kind of experienced pros, which was probably good for me as a younger guy. I know I was 22, but still in terms of the dressing room, one of the younger ones with Alan Archibald, who ended up my manager eventually. Kinscliff, Ian Maxwell, who's the chief executive of the SFA now. He was playing. Guys like John Robertson, David Rowson. When I went, Simon Donnelly was there. Guys like that, kind of right into a dressing room with guys who were really experienced. I think was a big help when I was young, and they kind of looked after you as well. But like I say, it's tough. I guess when you're kind of playing part time, especially kind of in the juniors, boys are playing for the love of the game, and don't work as hard. But I think when you go full time, it's you're living and you're playing for contracts. You're playing to kind of stay in the game, and there's more demand on you to kind of perform in training and in games and stuff like that. So I guess you kind of learn that quickly, and that kind of came across right away with the guys that we had there.
Who did you take to then? Who was the kind of, not mentor, but who did you kind of took you under the wing at Partick? Because you were quite young, 22 as young.
I think all of them, to be fair, all of them were really good. Like I said, Alan Archibald was brilliant with me. He was a centre half at the time, but he was kind of later stages of his career, which most of them were, to be fair, that I just mentioned. But he was captain at the time, and obviously wanted to be the manager, so he had a kind of big influence on me, my career, especially kind of in the younger ones. But like I said, like guys like Simon Donnelly, similar position to kind of what I played. Yeah. I grew up when I was younger. I was a Celtic fan, so kind of stepping into dressing room with guys like Simon Donnelly was amazing at the time as well.
So obviously you scored your home debut and all as well, wasn't it? It was Berwick Rangers 5-1, scored 2.
Yeah, aye. That was it.
I was going to say, how is it? Do you think, obviously, from a midfielder's point of perspective, how is it you came about adding goals to your kind of game? Was that started at Partick, or was it always something that you kind of developed as a kind of core?
No, I've always kind of been that kind of player. I was always, even through my younger days. When I was really young, I used to be a striker. When I mentioned it, when I was at Clyde, and round about kind of Celtic, when I was really young, I was a striker, and then just kind of moved my way back a wee bit. It wasn't until I went to the juniors I kind of started playing wider. I guess that was probably because they didn't want me right in the middle of the pitch, I think, in the junior game. I started playing a wee bit wider, but I was always kind of a thinking player. That was always my game. It was always kind of getting at defenders, try to score goals, try to get assists and stuff like that. So it was always there for a kind of young age, but it was good to get that. That was the kind of first game at home. And I was thinking, God, this is easy. A senior game. No, I'd played, I think the week before, I'd made my debut at Airdrie. That was in the league, and I was on the bench 0-0, and I came on at half time. I don't remember much of the game, but I know we won. We won 1-0. I think I did all when right back at the start, my mum and that used to, my dad and that used to clip things out the paper and all that, like cut things out and put it in a scrapbook and all that all the time. Like, I didn't know how long it was going to last. I think in my first game, the guy had said I'd came on, I did well in that, but I something like all the grace baby Jack or something like that. So it was a good one to start with.
At least it wasn't squid. At least it wasn't squid.
Exactly, yeah.
So before we move on, obviously, to fast forward to 2013 Dundee United, I've been asked a special request for ask Chris about the naked physio story at Partick.
Right, okay. So no, it wasn't a naked physio. So it was one of the players. I'll not name him,
Right.
but he was one of the boys to something. It was a great laugh, to be fair. So we had it was when Jackie McNamara was the manager.
Right.
So we're training at Glasgow Green, and this boy was injured this day, and Jackie had come in before the game, before training, and said, "Hey lads, we've got these 3 young lads. I think it's like some sort of scholarship, whatever. They're into watch training, so be on your best behaviour." And he said to this boy, so he's like, "What are you talking about? I never do it," and all that kind of stuff, right? So we go out to training. So if you've ever been to Glasgow Green, pitches, so the changing rooms were miles away, and there was a big, long, kind of straight path right to the end. The last one. So we're training for ages, and these young lasses are standing with Jackie, chatting away and stuff. So we're getting towards the end of training, we're doing the games and stuff, and then somebody goes, "What's that?" And we all look up, and here's this boy on a bike, cycling as fast as he can, right up the middle of it, totally naked, and he's got a towel on as a cape, and he's got physio tape. You could only see his eyes like a mask. I think you could see his mouth or something, and he's just got this towel on. So we're all howling with laughter, but he comes cycling all the way around Glasgow Green, right into where we're training, and he's kind of skids his bike right in front of Jackie and these 3 young lasses. And he's standing with his hands on his hips and that, like that. And these poor young lasses didn't know where to look. And then he just kind of took off back towards the changing rooms. And like I said, it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And then, so that stopped laughing. So we got back to the changing room, and we're all saying, "Oh, that was amazing. That was so funny." And that. And he said the best bit of it was, see when he got about halfway up the path before we could even see him, changing off his bike. So he had to jump off the bike and put his chain back on with the gear on and that. So it was really funny, really good.
What did McNamara say about it? Did he give it a ball? Just laughing.
To be fair, he just shaking his head. He knew what it was like, kind of thing. So it was funny, really funny.
Good memory. So did that? Was that one of the things then that kind of you missed? Obviously, you went to Dundee in 2013, massive move.
Mm-hmm.
Did you kind of, was there again a difference from the kind of players? Because obviously Dundee United being in the SPFL, was that a kind of?
Well, the year I had left Thistle, we actually won the league. So we won the first division. So Thistle were going to be in the Premier League that season as well. But I just felt at the time, Jackie and Sid had moved to Dundee United. And a few weeks or a month or whatever, I was out of contract at the end of the season, and they said they would like to take me up there. So I just remember, kind of growing up at Dundee United, were always up the top of the league, up within the top 3 and 4 teams. They were always in cup finals and semi-finals, and I just thought at the time it was a great move for me to go and do that.
You got top 4 first season, didn't you?
I think so. So my first season I didn't do too well. My first season, I couldn't get in the team. I played a couple of games, didn't do too well, and I ended up back on loan. And then the club actually got to Scottish Cup final that year. So I missed out on that. The second year, I'd done a bit better. My second year, we got to the League Cup final. We get beat off Celtic. We got to a Scottish Cup semi-final and stuff like that again. So we did do well. I think it's my second year. I think we were top of the league at Christmas. I'm sure we were. And then that's when we sold guys like Mackay-Steven and Armstrong, guys like that to Celtic, and it really weakened us. And then the third year that was there, and we get relegated that season as well. So kind of massive highs and massive lows when I was there.
What was it like? Because you played with Chief Robertson, as he said, Armstrong. What were they like as guys?
They're all great guys, to be fair. They're all really good guys. He'd come in for Queen's Park, Was just a kind of normal wee guy. Just, you could see right away the kind of quality he had and the pace he had and stuff like that. And he obviously don't need to tell you how well he done. The rest is history kind of thing. Jackie put his faith in him, put him in the team as a young lad, and he took care of himself kind of thing. But guys, Stuart Armstrong, Gary Mackay-Steven, I was there with wee Ryan Gold as well. He was just kind of breaking through as well. He got a great move. So it's the same everywhere you go. You don't really kind of come across bad guys in football. There's very few of them. I've not came across everybody's kind of, and I think it doesn't matter how good a player you are and what you've done in the game. Everybody just at the end of the day.
What was it? I've always wondered. What's Willow Flood like? He seems mental, mate.
Flood. I wasn't there.
Oh, was he not? He was in the team.
No, he. I think he came. I think he went back to Dundee United the year I left. So the year I went back, I left for Dundee United to go back to Thistle because I'm sure he went back when they were in the Championship. I'm almost certain. But I've heard he's mad as well. I think he's one of the guys that just demands everything all the time in training and stuff like that. That's what I've heard about him. But that's a good way to be.
Definitely. What was so obviously as well, because you moved with Paul Payton, wasn't it?
Yeah. Aye.
What's he like? Because you're at with him at EKFC now as well. So always
aye. So we've always got on anyway. We've been at Thistle and then at Dundee United and now at East Kilbride. He's similar to Willow Flood in terms of he demands. He's a leader, Pates. He's a captain. And he demands kind of the best of himself and his teammates. So I knew, not half the decision, but that's kind of one of the reasons why I went to East Kilbride, because I knew when he was signing guys like Pates that we would do well. Because like I said, Pates kind of demands that. But I think over the years he doesn't get the kind of credit he deserves. I think everybody needs a guy like Payton in their teams. The game, go and take the game by the scruff of the neck, and he can drag your team through a game. Kind of thing. Guys like someone like kind of Scott Brown and stuff like that. That's what Pates is like, and he's had a great career. He's played international football as well, and he's a great guy. Got on with him really well.
Speaking of Scott Brown, I was obviously at the time Rangers weren't in the league, but what was it like? What was the quality of Celtic like at that time, like playing against them?
It was tough. It was really tough. I think I'm sure somebody had asked me this recently about how many results I'd had here, and I think maybe playing them say 10 or 12 times or whatever. I think I only beat them once, and it was when I was at Dundee United. We beat them at Tannadice. Scored and Stuart Armstrong scored, and we beat them. I think we beat them 2-1. But apart from that, I don't think I'd beat them any other time in my career. I mentioned we were kind of top of the league for a bit. I think we beat them once. I think we drew with them in the Scottish Cup, and it went to a replay. We get beaten the replay. That was at the time where we had the League Cup, the League Cup final. That was against Celtic. We played them it was something crazy. Like we played them 6 times in 3 weeks or something like that. It was nuts in terms of like league games, the League Cup final, the Scottish Cup, and then the replay. And I think we didn't even kind of period to beat us kind of every time. So unbelievable quality. Unbelievable quality for the last however many years that they've been dominant in Scottish football. So.
What was it like as well? Obviously, you scored when the United went to Pittodrie and beat Aberdeen 3-0. You scored in that game. How was that? Because obviously Aberdeen were obviously still a big club back then.
Yeah, I think that was the first game of the season. That was my second year. Like I said, I'd went back on loan to Thistle because I hadn't done too well my first season. So I kind of wanted to hit the ground running that season and try to make a right good go at it, because I knew if I didn't start well, then there was a good chance that I'd be fully away, and that would be my kind of Dundee United career done. So I was on the bench that day, but I came on. We were winning 2-0, and then I kind of scored the third one. So it's good to see in terms of kind of somebody like me who's came for the junior team. maybe at a point, maybe thought that none of that would happen for me, that I would get to play at the kind of top stadiums against the top teams and stuff. So different. My kind of story's a wee bit different to kind of, I'm not saying your normal player but you know what I mean, guys who kind of are at from school and it's all they've ever known. So I always kind of took everything as a highlight kind of thing. Like, this will sound stupid, but for the first couple of years when I was playing professional, I thought, that's another year out of shipyards. That's the way I always used to look at it. Well, that's another year out of shipyards kind of thing. So, no, I really enjoyed times like that. Like getting to score I scored at Pittodrie a couple of times. Scored against Celtic. I scored against Rangers and stuff like that as well. So, good memories that'll live with me forever. Kind of.
Talking about playing at some grounds, what do you say your best one was? Like, what ground was the most impressive?
I always liked Easter Road.
Aye.
I don't know if I scored there a few times. I don't know if it was just kind of that, but a lot of people prefer Tynecastle because they kind of the fans are almost on top of you.
Aye.
I just really liked the stadium. It was always kind of full when you were there as well. However many, I'm not sure, 20,000 or something like that. But the stands are kind of steep looking as well. So, and the pitch was always pretty good when we were there. So I always kind of liked Easter Road. Like I said, I was a Celtic fan when I was younger. I couldn't really care less now, to be honest. But getting to play at Celtic Park, everywhere to be fair, but getting to play at Celtic Park was great as well. Obviously, having been there as a young lad with my family. It was kind of one kind of ticked off the list when you get to do that. So Park obviously for that side of things, and then Easter Road, that's just a kind of personal preference.
What was the worst then? Surely there's some bad ones in there. Some bad pitches.
Cowden Beef's always the one that sticks out. That's always the one that sticks out for everybody, I think, because it's got
a big hedge.
No, it's got like a speedway track around it.
Uh-huh. So
it's got so they get racing in that there. I think they get more. I'm sure they get more kind of people going to the speedway than they do at the football. So it's mad going there. See, like going to a kind of normal stadium, and then you go there and you get big tyres for the speedway around the track and all that kind of stuff. The pitch was never the best down there as well. Beef in terms of the professional leagues, aye.
It's quite humbling as well, like going to a place like you're saying, like Celtic Park and Ibrox, where you've got over, maybe 50,000 to go to a place like Cowden Beef. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think like Scottish players don't get the credit, mate. Like playing like places. I had a cup match when I was younger. I played obviously I was never professional or anything, but we played at Fraserburgh. And wow, mate, honestly, God, it was like caverns and stuff, mate, all ridiculous, right? Honestly, fair play, like to play on like what was Celtic Park and Ibrox must have been so smooth to go to a Cowden Beef hills. I think that's how you get kind of upsets and stuff like that, isn't it? Like, because obviously when you're used to the top stadiums and the top pitches, it can be hard sometimes, and it's got to kind of come within yourself to be kind of motivated for the game. If you've got fans at the game to maybe a couple of hundred or whatever, the atmosphere's not the same, and you kind of make your own atmosphere on the pitch and that. So that kind of comes for yourself and being professional and stuff as well. But listen, guys do it every week, week in, week out, play at these places as well, and I'm kind of back doing it now. We used to go bright places that are not as nice as I've been to before. So it's just one of these things, isn't it? So obviously, like, we're on to when you went on loan. You went on loan to Partick Thistle. You said that maybe you thought maybe Dundee United. Do you think Partick Thistle was probably the best option for you at that time, maybe as a loan?
I think because probably in that first couple of months at Dundee United, I think my confidence was just so low because I'd been a couple of games and just not been myself, hadn't played well. And then been getting subbed, and then I'd be on the bench and coming on for 10 minutes and probably trying too hard to do well because you're well, obviously. So I think my confidence was at an all-time low. So I think just because I was well liked at times there, and I just thought it was the best for me to go back to somewhere where I was comfortable really and kind of get my confidence up. they told me that when I went there that I would probably play again most weeks. So it was a kind of no-brainer for me. I was doing a lot of travelling as well. Me and Pates, a couple of other boys, we were travelling up and down to Dundee and we trained in St Andrews, travelling up there every single day, which was an absolute killer as well. So see, just even the chance to go back home and kind of be in my own bed every night and not do that kind of travelling. So it was all the kind of things, but Thistle were always my club. Throughout my career, obviously I went back there eventually when I left Dundee United and had another couple of years there, and it's just the place I felt most comfortable. I played my best football there. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. That's the best times I had there. I guess you get players like that sometimes. They get a club that suits them, and for me, Thistle suited me perfectly.
Well, you're saying that you played your best football. You won first. You were in the first division team of the year, and then you won player of the year in 2017 for them.
So I was nominated for the player of the year. The year we won the league. That was like out of the whole league. And the boy Lyle Taylor, he won it. He was at Falkirk. I think he scored about 30 goals for Falkirk, even though we won the league. We had kind of loads of players who scored. I scored a few goals myself that year, but we had throughout the team, and I think Lyle Taylor scored about 30 goals that season. So he won the player of the year for the division, but I was nominated for the year, so we were at the kind of award ceremony and all that, which was great, and I was in the team of the year for the league as well. The one I won player of the year for Thistle was a strange one. That was the year we get relegated with Thistle.
Was it?
So it only came about. This will sound stupid, but it only came about because I tweeted something. So we nominated. We were bottom of the league. We still, at this point, we still had a chance of getting out of it, but we had a terrible season the year before we got top six, and the club was just on the way up, and we were doing fantastic. And then I couldn't put my finger on what went wrong, but in that, so with the last couple of games to go, 6 games to go, or whatever, we still had the chance of getting out of it. But the club tweeted that we were under the and there was 4 nominations for Player of the Year. And he put it all over Twitter and that, and I just thought, that's just disgusting that we're even being considered for like having a Player of the Year kind of thing. So I had tweeted just saying that it was a shambles, we shouldn't even be having a Player of the Year award. I think I said I was embarrassed to be nominated, and it wasn't a kind of slander at the club. It was just that's the way I felt at the time, and I knew from the outside looking in, all the fans would be saying these idiots are at the bottom of the league, and somebody's got to win Player of the Year kind of thing. So I was genuinely embarrassed. So I tweeted, and it got thousands of retweets and stuff like that. And then it was like an online poll where you could vote for people. You could vote for the 4 kind of nominees. So I won it by an absolute landslide. But it was the only reason I didn't win Player of the Year because I was the best player. I won Player of the Year because I said I was embarrassed to be nominated. But it wasn't the club's fault. The club was having a Player of the Year for the whole club, if you know what I mean. So it was all through the youth, which I agreed with, because the youth teams had done well for the 17s and 19s, all that kind of stuff. The women, the ladies team and stuff had done really well that year. So we were still having that kind of Player of the Year ceremony. But in my opinion, we should have just scrapped it because nobody deserved it that year.
No, that's brilliant. So obviously, what you went to Livy then after Partick Thistle. What kind of came? How did you kind of come about that decision?
I was kind of forced into it, to be perfectly honest. So Alan Archibald had been sacked. Like I said, we'd been relegated the season before, so we all had clauses in our contract that we could leave when we were relegated. And I just, like I said, Thistle was my club. Like it hit me really hard that we'd been relegated, along with the other boys as well. So I had decided right away that I was staying, and I'd phoned and told Alan Archibald that I was staying, and then he gets sacked. I think it was 7 games into the season or something like that. He gets sacked, and Gary Caldwell came in. And at first I thought things were going well. He seemed like a good coach and stuff, but I played his first game, and then after that he just never played me for the next 12 games he was in. I think I started one more game, and I came through the grapevine that I'd been told I could go, even though nobody had spoke to me, which was ridiculous. and then that was it. So I think it came about because Ian McCall was at Ayr at the time. He'd been my first manager, and he was trying to take me to Ayr. Got in contact and said they would like to take me. So, but I was basically told at Thistle again within so many words, and I just felt like I had to just. I was in the last year of my contract, so I had to go and play. I had to go and try and play anyway. So go somewhere that I was going to have a chance at playing. So I went to Livingston. But it was good. I picked up a bad injury that I had for about 18 months, and I was kind of in and out all the time, so I never got a good run of games at Livy, but I loved it. It was a great club. Great, similar to Thistle, kind of a small club with kind of good people, really good people, and the kind of and that's what kind of makes a good football club for me.
Aye, Livy's talked about quite. It's not talked about enough. That apparently their back room and everything kind of down to the core of the club is kind of handled very well.
It is. It's so good. I think you've seen and I think they came out and said that whoever kind of comes in next will just need to kind of integrate into what they've already got going there, because they've got something good going there. They've got, like I said, they've got good people in the positions that they need there, and they've done so well over the last couple of years to come up for the Championship, and then obviously have a couple of seasons in the Premier League as well.
What was it like? Because obviously you went into Livy. Did you ever? Obviously you didn't get like a good run of games, but being around people like Dykes, he's Scotland international now. Like he's kind of blew up out of nowhere. So what was it like playing with obviously the kind of players? Did they always kind of have that? Like obviously you've got Ambrose as well. That was there, Hyphy Ambrose.
Aye, so Dykes done so well. He done so well when he came in. That I was there that he came in. So he'd signed for Queen's House. So I played against him in the past. Big London, a decent player. He looked like a decent target man in that, but I didn't realise how good he was until we kind of started. Until he came to I trained with him every day. Like I never realised what a kind of good touch he had and how he could bring other people into the game and what he's as well. And I knew eventually that he'd get a kind of good move that he did going to Queen's Park, QPR. So I know at the time he was kind of linked with Celtic and Rangers and that, and I thought Rangers should have took him. To be honest, I thought he would have suited their kind of style of play, and I know they're doing well anyway, but I think he would have suited kind of the way they play. And probably for the bigger teams like Celtic and Rangers, I think their fans look on other players and I shouldn't be looking at them. They're not good enough for our club. I think Big London would have done a great job for them, but that's just whether we were actually interested or no, I don't know. But that was just kind of the rumours at the time.
Did you ever did you ever as a club ever talk to London about it? Like ever ask if he was ever in touch with them or whatnot?
No in terms of that. I remember when he was when the chance was coming for him to sign for Scotland. I know that was kind of true. Obviously, it's true now because he's Scotland, but I knew he had the option between kind of Australia and Scotland, and that must have been a tough decision for him because obviously, but he's been over here for such a long time, and I don't know who it is in his family that's Scottish or whatever, but. Decision, so he kind of kept it to himself. We did ask him about it at the time, what he was thinking of doing, and he well, at that time when I was there, he just wasn't sure, I don't think, and he was what he thought was best for him. So, but he's done really well for Scotland. He looks like a top player. I think he's what Scotland's missing. Is that kind of big striker who can bring other people, because we've got good players behind the ball. So they can bring other guys into the game and kind of get hold of the ball up there, and he's done brilliant for the national team and the kind of games he's played so far.
What was it like? What was it like at a club level, training with him every day? Like, just not as a player, but just as a kind of guy?
He's a nice big guy as well. Like I said at the start, you don't come across many guys that are not nice, if you know what I mean. There's really well again. Just a nice big guy. He's a kind of family man. He's got a wife and kids and that as well. So kind of quiet big guy. Kind of kept kept his style, but like see on the training pitch, like I say, good quality on the training pitch, and he's exact same as he's exactly what you need. Is he trains plays as well. Like he gives his all in training. He's been chasing back. He wouldn't just stand up the pitch. That's the kind of you see him even like for Scotland. You've probably seen him more. The way he kind of defenders, he doesn't just stand up the pitch and wait for the ball to come to him. He works really hard for the team as well, which is something that goes a long way with the rest of your teams. What was
the boys' reaction when they came in with that multicoloured banner? Surely there must have been a few flags.
Again, I don't think I was there. I wasn't there when they did that. I don't think I did that, but I know I had because it was that was for the NHS, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
But so I was away with it, and I left in the summer there. So, but he'd had a few hairstyles like that before. Came in, he's hair all blue. That's just the kind of guy he is. He's got tattoos and that all over him. He's just likes to stand out, I think.
He loves it, doesn't he? He loves it that anyway. So obviously it was a year at Livy, as you said, the kind of just a run of injuries, couldn't get into a kind of run of games. Is that kind of what led you into maybe going back part-time?
That was kind of a part of the decision for me, to be honest. I mean, I'm only 34 in February, but I still feel fit. Still feel like I could play for years, if you know what I mean. But I had an operation in February to try and sort it, and it just didn't really sort it properly. I came back to training just before COVID and stuff hit. I came back to training, but it wasn't disappearing. So over the kind of summer with the months off, I just thinking that it might be better for me just to go part time and maybe only train twice a week. I'm a personal trainer now, as you know, as well. So getting to kind of be in the gym more regularly means I can kind of look after myself a wee bit better as well. I don't work as hard as I have been over the last kind of 11 years or whatever. So that was kind of part of the decision. And then the other part, it was the kind of personal training side of things. Obviously, through lockdown and stuff, we did a wee bit more kind of online. I got more involved with the boys at Functional, as you know, and I just felt it was the kind of right time for me. I know everybody has to kind of do something when their career kind of tails off towards the end, and I knew that was coming for me in the next couple of years. So I just kind of made the decision. East Kilbride's obviously my hometown, and I don't think I would have went part-time if it had been I don't mean to sound kind of derogatory or whatever, but a lower division kind of league team. I don't think I would have went part-time with one of these teams, but because it was East Kilbride, I know they're in the Lowland League, but they've got ambitions to kind of get out of it. Like I mentioned before, signing guys like Peyton and Kyle Hutton and Lewis Kidd and the guys like that, and I knew a couple of the boys there already who are good players. So the ambition of the club really, and they've got plans for a season in East Kilbride, and they want to get the club into the kind of professional league. So that was something that kind of interested me as soon as I spoke to the manager and that. Like I said, I just kind of added everything all up and thought, I'm just going to do it at this point. I could probably have played full time for maybe another year or two, but with this kind of injury and everything else that was going on.
What you said about EKFC was what's it like? Because obviously Stevie Aitken's the manager, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the manager. So that I think because the guys who've played at a higher level there, and obviously the manager, and that's managed at a good level as well. We've got Ian Durrant, we've got Chris Aitken as well, the manager's brother, at good levels as well. So again, it's what I kind of spoke about before about standards and kind of bringing that into training, make sure that it's up to standard, up to putting the work in when you're at training and taking it onto the pitch on a Saturday. So we've done okay so far. We've only lost one game, we've drew a couple, and we've won the rest. So we're kind of up towards the top of the league. Kelty ran away with it last year, and we managed to beat them a few weeks ago, and then we've slipped up a couple of weeks after that. So if you have a look at the Lowland League table, there's about 5 or 6 teams all within about a point each other up at the top. Right. So it's actually again, that was what people said to me. It's like, why are you going for? Because I was at Livy last year. Why are you going for the Premier League? It wasn't really about that for me. It wasn't about kind of, like I said, going to maybe a lower championship or a League One or a League Two team, just kind of the things they'd spoke about at East Kilbride that kind of made me excited about it, if you know what I mean. Kind of, I think if I could achieve that, I could get promoted into the professional setup, then that would be something that I could be proud of towards the end of my career as well. So it's going okay so far, but it's over the last couple of weeks. But I'm sure that will happen with the rest of the teams as well.
As you mentioned, what's it like working under Durrant? Because he's played at the top, hasn't
he? He's class. I've got a few mates who are kind of big Rangers supporters and that as well. So I kind of knew about him before. I wouldn't have seen him playing much myself, but I've heard what a top player he was, and then I spoke to him about his kind of knee injury and stuff. That was really, I think that kind of changed. He was only 20 when he got his knee injury and stuff, but he's a great guy. Like I said, see, having the guys like that who have experience of playing in the top levels and being in these kind of pressure situations and stuff, it all helps when you're getting into the season and you've, like I'm saying, you're getting into positions where you're dropping points, pressure's on you to kind of perform every week. So he's been good so far, but so's the rest of the coaching staff as well.
Do you think as well, like, just a last bit as well, like being at functional and kind of being a PT as well, it makes you kind of more aware of how to stay fit, maybe how to kind of eradicate or help with your injury? Is that maybe kind of played a part in helping as well?
It does help, definitely. Like I think anybody who's played with me over the years would have thought that there was no chance I would have been a PT. Like when I first started playing football, I don't think I'd ever been in a gym when I was 22. So, but it was okay. It really kind of came in the strength and conditioning kind of stuff when I went to Dundee United. I think it was 26, and that was the kind of first time where you had kind of strength and conditioning coaches, and then as you get older, you have to look after yourself a bit more. Like I said, you get aches and pains, and your body probably can't do what it did when you were younger. So you've got to look after yourself a wee bit more. So I was always doing that anyway, like my kind of late stages at Thistle. And when I was at Livy, I was always looking after myself. And then I done my qualification when I was at Thistle, my personal training qualification. So again, gave me, like you said, gave me a wee bit more knowledge of how to kind of look after myself. And then obviously I'm taking that into things now, well, being in the gym a wee bit more. But I think it's just having the less kind of training load that'll help me, if you know what I mean, because it just seemed to be flaring up constantly with the constant training, my groin. So it's been pretty good this year. I've not really felt it too much. So fingers crossed, touch wood, all that, carry on, that'll be all right for the rest of the season.
Definitely. Right, the last wee bit before we kind of come to an end, you played with some players, mate, as said earlier on. Who would you say is the best you played with?
I think in terms of what he's done, probably Andy Robertson's got to be into it. Like for what he's done now. Like I said, when we were at Dundee United, we Andy came in and we didn't have another left back. And at the time, we had the boy Graham Carey on trial. Do you remember him? He played with St Mirren. He's actually, I think he's like Sofia or something like that, playing in the Europa League and stuff. So he's doing really well for himself. He went down to Plymouth. But he was playing left back at the time, and he came in on trial with Dundee United, and we were over in Germany on pre-season, and we thought he's going to have to sign. The closer it got towards the end of the season, he looked really good in training and his trial matches and stuff. We all had Andy Robertson, and we thought he's not going to film. I don't know, he was just going to Queen's Park and the team. And then as time got closer towards the start of the season, Graham Carey, and he flung wee Andy into the first season. Like I said, he took it himself. And then obviously what he's done now is to go for where he's been to run in the Champions League and stuff like that.
I know, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely it's him when he's part-time, and you've seen the face to me, you've seen life and he's managed to work his way up to where he is now. So like I said, he's very good, so he does have a
You've been absolutely brilliant. You're an absolute gentleman, Chris. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
No.
See you in the gym. Back.